Brian Hartline's best move against Texas is leaning on Ryan Day's play calling expertise.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Hump Day edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. During today's show, we will celebrate another Buckeye that recently lost his black stripe, as well as discuss if Ryan Day should call plays against Texas. But first, anytime you're starting a big task, you want to find a way to ease into it, not be thrown into the fire. Well, for Brian Hartline, as he is preparing to call plays for the very first time in his career, he doesn't have the opportunity to just ease into it because the Buckeyes play the number one team in the country in week number 1. And Texas is going to try to do everything they can to not only disrupt Julius Sand, but to not allow Hartline to get comfortable and to get into a rhythm. But Hartline has something in his back pocket, that might be able to overcome anything Texas throws at Ohio State, and that's Ryan Day. Ryan Day is one of the best offensive play callers in the entire country, and when Ryan Day is on and he's hitting on all cylinders, it's very hard to slow him down. And for Hartline, you're going into a new journey, a new step in your career, and you don't have the opportunity to just ease into it by playing a Grambling State first or by playing the Ohio Bobcats first. No. It's the Longhorns in week number 1, a team that is hungry to go out there and to take the Buckeyes down because of what happened a year ago in the Cotton Bowl. Well, for Hartline, don't get scared. Don't be shy or timid. Utilize Ryan Day and lean on Ryan Day and allow Ryan Day to help you in your first game as an offensive play caller. Because if you lean on Ryan Day and allow Ryan Day to help you in some of those big moments, you can begin to get into a rhythm. You can start to feel a little bit more comfortable in a big-time showdown in week number 1. And this goes for any position, not just Hartline calling plays. If you think up and down Ohio State's roster, there are guys that are young, that are inexperienced, but they're going to play for a little bit. And in those rooms, there are guys that have played quite a bit of football or a little bit more football that can help them ease their nerves, calm down a little bit, and help them be the best player they can be out there on the field. In the running back room, Ryan Day said they're comfortable playing 3 running backs. I am going to speculate who the third back is. Ryan Day didn't confirm who that person was, but I think the top 3, James Peoples, C.J. Donaldson, and Bo Jackson. And there's something when you hear those names, you can realize, well, one of the 3 has played quite a bit of football, is a 2,000-yard rusher in their career, and the other 2 guys ain't really played any ball at all. Bo Jackson's a true freshman. So they can lean on Donaldson, especially in some crucial moments where pass pro might be a little bit tricky, or 4th and 2, you need 3 yards, and you know the ball's getting in your hands. What can you do? Is it a physical thing? Is it a vision thing? How can you overcome and be the man in this moment? Lean on those guys. Think about on defense. Caleb Downs is the safety, the best defender in college football. There are 2 guys in Jalen McClain and Malik Harper that are striving to be Downs' running mate. What can those 2 young guys do in the game or even in game prep to help prepare them for the showdown with Texas? Lean on Caleb Downs. Lean on what he does. Watch film with him and see, oh, Downs sees this. I would not have seen this if I was not in this film room with him, and that can help you calm your nerves and get ready for this big-time showdown. And we can go position by position and discuss how the receiving position or on the offensive line, how there are guys that are going to maybe be starting their first game in a long time or ever at Ohio State, or maybe there are guys on the defensive line that are looking up to K-Jack and Caden Curry. While they haven't played a lot of ball in the starting role, they have played quite a bit of ball in a backup position. They can help those guys that are a little bit nervous or need a little help along the way. And this is what you're going to need against Texas. Yes, Hartline is the big one because he is preparing to maybe be in a spot on the field that he's never been in or he's not normally at. And so there's a lot riding on Brian Hartline. Lean into the resources. Don't let the resources just be there, sitting on a table and looking at you and saying, I want you to utilize me. Ryan Day would be very, very frustrated if Brian Hartline went into that game and didn't utilize Ryan Day's help and didn't heed the aid that Ryan Day can provide. Day would be pretty upset, and he should be. He's the head coach. That win or loss is something he has to account for and answer for, so he should be upset. I do expect Ryan Day in this game to be very hands-on with the play calling. I do not think he's going to allow Hartline to go in there and act like Chip Kelly, where Chip Kelly was calling the plays and Day didn't really have to be very hands-on. No, I think Day is going to be hands-on and he's going to walk around with the play chart, maybe not calling plays, but he's going to be discussing, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Are you seeing the same thing? Hey, this is what the tendency was on film. Is this something we're going to see in the first quarter? And these are things that Hartline can start to do. Hartline, in his most recent presser, didn't say where he would be on the field. That was something that him and Ryan Day still had to talk about. And Hartline could be in the eye in the sky, or he may be on the sidelines. I think there's a benefit by being the eye in the sky, a massive benefit, because on the sidelines, you can only see so much. You don't get the all 22 view. You don't. Not even if you are, say, 20 yards away, maybe behind or in front, to where you can see a little bit more and get a different view. But you don't get to see the all 22 like you do in the eye when you're the eye of the sky. But here's one thing for Hartline: if he is the eye of the sky up in the press box, you have been very hands-on with the receivers. They come off the sideline and you're the first voice they hear. You're right there in their face. You're coaching them up, not in a bad way, but the beneficial way, as soon as the play is over. And so let's just say Hartline decides to go and be the eye of the sky and go up top and be in the box to call plays. I would understand that, and I think it's a massive benefit to do that. However, what will it do with the receivers? Will they lose a step, or will they not adjust quickly because the voice they normally hear and the face they normally see when they come off the sidelines is now way up in the sky? That's something that needs to still needs to be discussed. And part of me thinks Hartline's going to be up top, but I think with him being so hands-on with the receivers, I could see Day and Hartline saying, no, you be down here. I think Patricia's going to be up top. I think it's actually a wise thing for him. That's my guess. I don't truly know where Patricia's going to be, but I would be shocked if both coordinators are in the same spot. If both both coordinators are on the sideline. I could see one being on the sideline and one being up in the box, but if both on the sideline, I would be shocked. I would also be shocked if Hartline doesn't lean into Ryan Day and what Ryan Day does very well and maybe better than most people in the country. Steve Sarkisian is a phenomenal play caller. Ryan Day is a guy that's a phenomenal play caller too, who is handing over play calling duties to Brian Hartline, who is a first-time play caller, which makes me wonder if Ryan Day should call plays against Texas. I'll answer that question after the break. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. with code LOCKEDONCollege. This episode is also brought to you by OpenPhone. If you're running a business, every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you needed a service. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on. That's why you need OpenPhone, so you never miss an opportunity to connect with your customers. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system designed to streamline and scale your customer communications. Do you juggle two phones just to keep business and personal calls separate? OpenPhone solved that instantly. Your whole team can share one number and respond to customers like a shared inbox. No more who's handling this? And the AI agent handles after hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so I never miss a customer again. See why over 60,000 businesses trust OpenPhone. They're offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedoncollege. That's OpenPhone.com/lockedoncollege. They'll even port over your existing numbers for free. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed opportunities. Thank you all for tapping in Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Brian Hartline is starting a new journey as an offensive play caller. This is one thing you can do your best to simulate and practice in some office situations where you're watching a game, you're trying to look and get a feel of things in a simulated version to where you're trying to call plays from a game that was previously played, but it's a whole lot different when you're doing it in a game. Similar to a player, you try your best to simulate game like situations, but you truly can't do it. Even if you're trying to do things in a virtual reality situation, that can only help you so much. It's a great tool and asset to have, but there's nothing like a real game situation, which makes me wonder if Ryan Day should call plays against Texas and then allow Hartline to have his first game calling plays be in week #2 against Grambling State. And I think it would make a lot of sense if Ryan Day decided to do that. But I think with the way that things went last year, and with the way that Ryan Day has taken more of a CEO approach, it would make a whole lot more sense for Ryan Day to allow Hartline to call plays and for Ryan Day to be more of a safety net and for Ryan Day to be there to allow Hartline to lean on him. The only way I think Ryan Day should call plays, this is similar to Urban Meyer, is if Ryan Day senses things starting to unravel and starting to feel that the game is getting out of hand because there is no rhythm, there is no flow, and Hartline isn't getting it done. That's it. But outside of that scenario, you let Hartline go into that game, do all the prep leading into kickoff, do all the virtual reality or film study leading into kickoff to allow Hartline to get into a rhythm, to allow Hartline to do something new that you've promoted him to do, because this is the progression for him in his career. Those are my words. That's Ryan Day. At the progression in Hartline's career is for this to happen. Plus, you want Hartline to figure out what it takes to get into a rhythm. Is it more run than pass? Is it more pass and run? Is it a 50-50 split? Is it one running back can run certain plays and the other runs different? If you start rotating a receiver, do you have to change up what happens because of a different receiver coming in? These are things you only learn on the job and on the job training. And this on the job training situation came into my head when the Indianapolis Colts named Daniel Jones the week 1 starter instead of Anthony Richardson. And I 100% agree with that decision. I think the project that Anthony Richardson is not working out. A guy that struggles to even read a defense and make the simple passes routinely, who is also frequently hurt. I think Daniel Jones is the safest pick and the right pick, especially when you know that Richardson can't even figure out how to slide the protection to help him out in the pocket. So Richardson is a project. He is a guy that when you look at him, you see, well, he can be good, but He needs on-the-job training. And when you need on-the-job training in the NFL and you're also hurt, it's very hard to figure it out. And the NFL is different than college. In college, you're going to get some on-the-job training, especially as a coach or a player, because, well, that's what that level of the sport is for. Not the top level, not if you're a pro. Richardson is a pro, but he still needs some training. Hartline does too. The difference between Hartline and the other situation that I mentioned is Hartline isn't playing to where he's going to be injured or banged up. That's going to hinder his growth. You need some on-the-job training. Richardson does too. He's just struggling to be able to get that training consistently. Hartline is about to can't only get on-the-job training. You want to try to get it as much as you can, but real games matter so much for the development and the progression of Hartline's career. I get what Ryan Day is saying, and I understand why Ryan Day has shown this large amount of trust and faith in Brian Hartline. I wonder what it would take in this game specifically for Day to take over with play calling. I have now, and I even think like if you get down 2 scores, maybe Day does, but maybe he lets Hartline figure it out. Because just like anything you have done in your life, you have made mistakes and you have figured it out. Or maybe you're still trying to figure it out. Maybe you are someone in certain tasks that you have around your home. Some of them come very, very easily. And you're like, oh, buddy, this is a breeze. And maybe it's some lawn work, or maybe it's some things around the house. You're a handyman. You're just putting things back together left and right, and good for you. While others, if it's cutting the grass, it takes a little bit longer. Or if it's some handyman work around the home, it takes a little bit longer. But what do? You keep at it. You keep working, and you figure it out. And I think Hartline's going to figure it out. I don't know when. I'm not going to be the guy to come on here and make a bold proclamation just to do it and say, he's going to figure it out. Week 1, he's going to figure out all the X's and O's. I can't do that because that's not me. Also, y'all, that doesn't make any sense. I do think for week 1, Hartline, similar to what we mentioned yesterday ago, the other day has got a great glimpse about saying and what he provides for the Buckeyes offense and his mindset when he starts his first game. It's the same for Hartline. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. There's a formula that's at Ohio State that is a winning formula, and it's going back since Ryan Day got to Ohio State from Barrett's last year to Haskins to Field to Stroud to McCord to Howard. It is a winning formula. And you don't need to try to make something new because, buddy, it ain't broke. So don't try to fix it. Just fall in line and follow the leader. The leader is Ryan Day. As you continue to follow the leader, good things are going to happen. Ryan Day shouldn't call plays against Texas. And it would make maybe your blood pressure and your heart be a lot calmer than it's going to be on August the 30th against Texas, because, well, it's going to be a difficult thing to do when Hartline's calling plays. I do think for this game, Hartline's going to be fine. It'll be tough. It'll be a learning period. But Hartline is going to be fine. While he's going to be fine, he must lean on Day, and Day must trust him. Day can't try to butt in and interject. He must trust him. And while he must trust him, there is a player that the coaches and the other players have trust in right now, because there's one more Buckeye in the string of players at training camp that has recently lost his black stripe. Just one today, not 2 like most days. Just one player we're going to celebrate because someone else has proven that they have what it takes to be a Buckeye. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and college football isn't far behind. Whether you've got your eye on big-name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in the game. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. I've used PrizePicks for a few seasons now and love how simple it is. The flex play option is a total game changer. Even when one of your picks misses, you still doubled your money. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now. Once again, visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Thank y'all for tapping Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. One thing we're going to do on a Friday that we haven't done in quite a long time is open up the big old bag of mail. Go on the YouTube community tab on the YouTube page for Locked on Buckeyes. You will find a question in a spot that is a call for questions. List it, fill in that slot, and list all the questions you have before the Buckeyes' first game week of the season. I am sure you have a lot of questions. We talked a lot about quarterbacks, a lot about Ryan Day and Hartline. There's a lot more to touch on, and it may be on your mind. Go there on the YouTube community tab, find the call for questions, and submit your questions, and those will be utilized on Friday's episode of Locked on Buckeyes. Black stripes are fun when they get taken off. It is a sign that you have proven you have what it takes to be a Buckeye. It's something that Urban Meyer started, and Ryan Day continued the tradition, and I hope this tradition lasts for the rest of time, because I think it is such a high honor to be an Ohio State player that even if you get an offer and you commit and you sign your national letter of intent, you're on scholarship, that's a huge thing. But as you're growing up and maturing, you still got to prove it on the field, off the field, in the classroom, in every single area. You have to prove you have what it takes to be a Buckeye. Even if you're a preferred walk-on, I don't really care. If you're a preferred walk-on or walk-on in general, you got to prove you have what it takes to be a Buckeye. And the latest individual during training camp that has proven he has what it takes to be a Buckeye is the final member in the Buckeyes 2024 recruiting class to lose their black stripe. It is Damarian Whitten. Now, Damarian Whitten, his path to Ohio State is interesting. He's a local kid from Glenville. He's a tar blooder. He was, what's the right word? Recruited to be a tight end. I don't know why it took me so long to get that. He was recruited to be a tight end, but he transitioned to be a receiver shortly after he got to Ohio State. And that transition is very, very difficult. Think about G. Scott Jr., who recently played at Ohio State, was on the national championship winning team. G. Scott Jr. from Seattle was recruited to be a receiver, a highly talented receiver. And he got to Ohio State. He really wasn't fast enough. He wasn't quick enough. His hands weren't the best. His route running wasn't the best either. He got passed up by younger guys, and he transitioned to tight end. And what did you find? The first thing he said was, in one of the pressers, was he's a couple hamburgers away from, what's the word? Being, I think it was, at the time, I think it was 225. You're thinking, 225? Yeah, because that's the amount of weight he had to gain to simply be able to play tight end for Ohio State. And if you're a Buckeye tight end, what do you have to do? First and foremost, block. So if you're going from playing on the outside to playing in line as a tight end, you got to figure out how to get out of a stance, how to get your footwork right, how to block, your hand placement, your pad level. There's so many details to blocking as a tight end that are different from blocking as a receiver, it's going to take you a little bit of time. Also, when you're gaining weight, how are you going to hold the weight? How are you going to be able to move? Will you be as quick? No. Will you be quick enough? Will you lose so much speed that you can't be productive? There are so many different things to tie into moving from receiver to tight end. When you go from tight end to receiver, it's an easier transition. However, how long is it going to take you to lose some of that weight? Or can you play receiver at the weight that you were recruited at? Or do you struggle to get into out of a stance? Or is that transition good for you? There are so many different things that going from tight end to receiver that make that a difficult transition. And for Whitten, it was difficult. While he's the final member of the Buckeyes 2024 recruiting class, don't turn your nose up and say, oh, man, that's horrible. No, he lost the black stripe, and we're here to celebrate it. This is one more guy that can be a piece of a pie for Ohio State this year. I don't view Damarian Whitten as a guy who's going to be on the field as receiver. Never have. I don't believe I'll ever feel like that this season. However, when it comes to the special teams, that's where this young man can make his mark. Standing at 6 foot, I believe, 3. My computer is slow to move. 6'3", 206 pounds. He is someone that I think a lot of Buckeye fans are going to enjoy in the future, maybe even this year, because any player that's not a starter can make a name for themselves as a special teams player. Kickoff return, hands team, the punt return team, whatever the case may be, you got to make your mark out there. Because losing a black stripe is great, but what's also great and maybe even better is going out there on the field on a Saturday in the fall and showing every coach and every player you have what it takes to be successful. And I think for Damarian Whitten, keep grinding. You got to keep grinding. You got to keep pursuing your dreams. Don't let the delay in losing a black stripe cause you to not push forward, because you have to. You pushed forward previously and even currently because you could have allowed the fact that you're transitioning from tight end to receiver, and as that transition is a little bit difficult, he could have allowed that to slow him down, to slow down his progress, and for him to not be as productive on the field. What do you find he's doing? Working, grinding. He's excited. And I would highly encourage everyone watching or listening to this show right now to go on any Buckeye social media platform. I saw it on the Instagram and watch the video of Coach Barnett and WCJ Barnett and Damarian Whitten talk about what it losing the black stripe meant in the moment. And some players, when they lose their black stripe, thank Coach Mick, thank Coach Locke, and you do your thank yous. It's very up and down, very, very quick. Damarian Whitten had something to say because his journey is a little bit different. His journey was a little bit different. He found a way to be very appreciative of where he currently is, very appreciative of the coaches that have helped him along the way, and he wanted to thank everyone in a short period of time. And I'm glad he did it. Hats off to you, Damarian Whitten. Congratulations on losing your black stripe and proving you have what it takes to be a Buckeye. Thank you all for tapping Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. For your second listen, check out Locked on College Football, because my guy, Spencer McLaughlin, is going to get you ready for week 0 and especially for the massive slate of college football games during week 1. You can follow Locked on College Football and Locked on Buckeyes on the YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on any social media platform or jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. Let's have some Locked on Buckeyes right here on a Friday. A feel-good Friday at that. We'll see you next time.